Hello everyone, I hope you are well today. I'm going to do something just a little different, a bit of a meditation and a healing for Samhain or Halloween, and this time I'm actually seated where you are, so I will be reaching over, okay, and starting to soothe you. And we'll do a little bit of a meditation. I've got some cards here and some of the OBOD from Celtic Reiki. But I'm going to start by using a rattle very gently. And this is a gourd from Lithuania. And let's just clear you. Cleanse, clear. To make way for renewal. Many witches believe that this is the start of the new year. I myself class it at the solstice, but it is a renewal time as we get ready for winter. Okay, so I just want you to start to relax, and placing my hands on your shoulders like I normally do, and starting to ground, growing those roots downwards, down past your hips and knees and down through your feet into the ground below you. And they are the roots of the yew tree, the Ioha. And I'm just going to draw that down into you now. 3, 4, 5. And this tree is bright red bark, orangey red, and cream wood. You can just see here the cream wood and the colour. And it has beautiful red berries, and it often guards in church grounds and graveyards. A very important tree for the Ovati, the Ovates, which is the middle group of Druids. You would start at being a bard, you would move upwards to a Druid, an Ovati or an Ovate, which are the healers and the soothsayers, and then you would graduate to Druid. But Druids are still bards, and bards are still Druids. There are many crossovers. So just reaffirm those roots now as we go down through the timelines, twisting and pushing through the earth and the soil, deeper and deeper into the earth. And then I would just like you to imagine that candle flame at the innermost center of your being, and glow it and grow it and push out and away anything that you don't want to think about at the moment, upwards and downwards, to the front and the back, right the way out. And I'm just going to spray you now with a mixture of silver birch and Scots pine. And we will be using the Scots pine, so I'm just going to spray that at you. And it is antiseptic and grounding at the same time. And just breathe in that cleansing and grounding scent as I place the oil of the yew tree on my hands for you. These are from Starchild in Glastonbury, and I will put the details of the cards that I use and these oils in the show notes, okay? Alright, so now I would like you to take your mind to southern England, and we are going to visit the barrowlands, the rolling open downland, where the stone circles, or many of them, and the long barrows are. And let's just imagine us all there together. We stop our cars, we've parked, and now we're just going to head off towards this stone circle. And it is evening, and I would like you just to imagine walking through the wet grass. There are toadstools and mushrooms. It is a little bit windy, maybe there's even a bit of drizzle in the air, but you have a wonderful raincoat on, and where we are going there will be fires and many other spiritual beings. It is also a time of the ancestors. And the ancestors, these are by an Australian lady, these cards. I will also put her details in the show notes. They are called Druid Wisdom Oracle Guide, and it's Sandra Circle is her name. And when we get to the Wheel of the Year, just move this a little second. We are now at Samhain, but we are in the northwest quarter or eighth of the year. When we start to think about those who have gone before us, those that we miss, and we also are starting to plan for the winter ahead. And we keep walking, making those footsteps. Getting a little bit excited now. We're going to a Samhain feast, a Halloween feast with the ancients. And just up ahead, the noises and the drumming gets a little bit louder. And as we get closer to the circle, we start to see the various people, the druids and the witches and the pagans, and all manner of souls who come out. And they are very welcoming. A druid will stand and greet us with his long staff with 2 prongs at the top, with a white feather and a black feather. A stang, he calls it. And there is a lantern hanging off it as well, and he plants it at the edge of the circle, probably about there. And it marks a gateway, because as we enter this circle, we are entering a place devoid of space and time. The circle has been set. And just before we cross over into this circle, I would like you just to set your intentions. Take a breath in and then breathe out whatever it is you want to get rid of at the moment. And then take a step into the circle and then breathe in and wish as you breathe in for what you would like to breathe back into you and bring towards you. And then just look at the hill, the long barrow, or the round barrow rather, with the trees on top of one of the Bronze Age chieftains. And the sun is now starting to set. It is really changing the sky as it gets a bit darker and the first stars appear. Sirius, Orion, they start to rise. And you enter the circle. And the goddess Cleridwin notices our arrival, and she walks over, quite a formidable goddess, very important in wealth mythology. There is a video probably a good 1.5 years ago about her. But she offers transformation and help with challenges and mastery over them. And she has her cauldron of ahwen that she brews. And she invites us over to the cauldron, and she asks if you have a gift. And I want you now to imagine reaching into one of your pockets, and you didn't know you had this, but you pull out a handful of herbs and you throw it on. And it steams and it bubbles a little bit, not too much, but this is for breathing in. Breathing in the cauldron of Cleridwin and that transformation and help with the challenges. Okay. So I'd like you now just to find a seat somewhere in the circle. And you may look around and notice somebody you know, somebody you haven't seen for a while. And this may be person, or it may even be indeed animal. And they welcome you to come and sit next to them, so take your seat. Cleridwin now moves to the center of the circle, and she invites us all to stand up and cascade the ahwens. And she welcomes you. And she now asks us all to be seated. As she starts to clear our energy centers with her pendulum, and she will hold it over each one of you and tell it to remove any negative energy. And it spins. It is moving in an anti-clockwise circle, spinning out anything that no longer serves you, that the candle flame couldn't get rid of, anything that you excessively worry about, because worry serves no one. She also removes any pain, any hatred, any jealousy, all of those negative emotions of anger, resentment, worry, frustration. She puts a hand on your shoulder. As she walks past, there's my little finger at the side with my hand on your shoulder. I'm standing behind you. And then she moves on to the next person, and so on around the circle. And we're just going to do this until the pendulum is happy that it is removing everything from everybody watching, so it might spin for a little while. And this pendulum is modelled on one that came out of the Egyptian tombs. It is called a Tahuti, written Thoth, Thoth, and it is a great wooden pendulum that I received from a lady in France who douses. I don't know where you can get them. And it's just spinning out. And if you wonder how this works, the yew tree with the Ogham just down there is a timeline tree. So even if you watch this and the Samhain the year after, it'll still work because we are in a space devoid of time. We are inside that stone circle you can see in front of you, and we are inside the timelines of the Eho, 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 the yew tree Ogham that is there. Okay, the pendulum is now slowing down. Okay, and it is now happy with what it has done. Okay. So we'll just move this ancestral card over here, and we'll move this Ogham over here so we've got a little bit of space to work with. Okay, so we have the lower Dantian, which is just below your, well, in your abdomen. Also to the Celts, the cauldron of warming. Okay, and then we have the middle Dantian, and Dantian is a Chinese word for energy center, which we use in Celtic Reiki. And this is the cauldron of emotion to the Celts. And then at the top, we have at the top Dantian, or the yin-tang point, the cauldron of inspiration. Okay, and I've chosen the Ogham for the year, and we have 3 here. So we first of all, we have the Elim, the fir tree or the Scots pine, similar to a Douglas fir in the Americas. And this is a very tall tree. It can see ahead. So I'm thinking of this for looking ahead over the winter towards the spring, starting to make your plans now. So I'm just going to hold that up and I'm going to draw that. Elim, Elim, Elim. Breathe in and relax, and we'll put this here as the middle of our Ogham ray. And then we have the elder, the witch's tree. Had to include this, as many witches will be celebrating and partying, getting on their brooms. So I'm going to draw this down you as well. Rish, rish, rish. And breathe in the elder tree, and some of you may have elderflower cordial, which is the springtime flower, and then those flowers that were not harvested form little clusters of deep purple berries, which you can put in champagne. So the Rish, the witch's tree, and that is the second ray of Ogham. And then thirdly, we have the strife, the blackthorn, which creates the slow berries, a very thorny tree. The thorns are about that long. A very protective tree. a tree that will work alongside with Cleridwin on those challenges and for your transformation. So we're just going to draw this down you. Strife. 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 Pushing that in now. And we'll put this and this. Is the Ahwin that the Druids talk about. And at the top are the 3 drops of inspiration that came out of Cleridwin's cauldron. The 3 drops that touched little Gwion Bach's hand, and he then licked his thumb and gained all the Ahwin. And then Cleridwin chased him across land, sea and sky, because the brew was meant for her son. But you are invited now again to go up to her cauldron and breathe in this magic of Ahwin. And remember this for the solstice, because that line in the middle represents the winter to the summer solstice, and then these rays here are the equinoxes. We'll do this again at the solstices. And know that the next turn of the wheel is for Yule. And complete renewal, but it is the start of your renewal today. Okay. So now the mead and a little cake is brought round. The soul cakes, soul cakes. Please, Mrs. A soul cake, an apple, a pear, a plum or a cherry, any good thing to make us merry. 1 for Peter and 2 for Paul, and 1 for him that made us all. My coat is very dirty and my shoes are very thin, but I've got a pocket to put a penny in. A penny would be nice, but a halfpenny will do. And if you haven't got a halfpenny, then God bless you. Soul cake, please, good Mrs. A soul cake, an apple, a pear, a plum or a cherry, any good thing to make us merry. And you take your cake, your plum or your pear, which are falling just now, and that is a little folk song. And I suppose the most famous version of it was done by Sting, and he called it as a Christmas song, but it is actually a Samhain, a Halloween song, and maybe this is where we get our trick-or-treat customs from. But as darkness totally falls and the fires are lit, it is not the customary pumpkins you see being lit. It is the turnips with the little scary faces faced out of the stone circle to ward away the negative ones, because we only want positive and lovely souls with us. So you have your soul cake or your apple, plum or pear. And then someone comes round with little thimblefuls of mead, you just have a little gulp down of the honeyed nectar, just to warm the heart, warm the cockles of your heart. And then you sit yourself down with your back against one of these standing stones, with your friend, family member, or indeed your lovely pet, and just enjoy their company for a moment, just while we listen to the drum. Say anything you want to say, anything you never said. Cry, laugh, and hug. Breathe out. Okay, so it is now time to say goodbye. But know that whoever you have been seeing, and even those who chose not to come tonight to see you, they love you. And they are always with us in our heart and our mind. Even if you can't remember their voice, their essence is within you. And we now need to leave the circle. So Cleridwin just closes it down by saying merry meet, merry part, and merry meet again. And she puts her lid on the cauldron. And we now thank the Druid gatekeeper as we exit the stones and walk past his stang. And as a group, we start to walk back away, looking up at the myriad of stars, Orion chasing the Plagiaria across the skies, and the dog star Sirius right at his toe. blinking and winking, the red, the blue and the white. And we walk past the little fairy houses of the mushroom circles. And with every step you ground it in. Ground in this experience, ground in this healing, and ground in the love. And then we're back at the cards, placing my hands on your shoulders. And I wish you all of the blessings of Samhain for the renewal. Love and light to you all, my friend.